It has been a massive week for Twitch.tv. There has been a huge leak of information allegedly showing financial data, payout data, and more. And that has sparked a conversation about streamers making too much money. Apparently, the realization has dawned on yet more people that some streamers make millions of dollars. But is it true? How much money do streamers really make? Do they make a lot of money? Do most streamers make a lot of money? We're going to break that down right now. We're going to solve that mystery. This is going to be the only video that you need to watch to get that answer, okay? So let's get started. But first of all, how did we get here? What happened? Well, it's been crazy, okay? We've got this Alinity take here saying, real talk though, this leak should be proof that you shouldn't become a streamer for the money. Very few people make it. I don't think any of us started before 2013 and said, well, I'm going to press the go live button to become a millionaire, and neither should you. Okay, so we got some negative responses here that all started as a result of a massive Twitch leak that came out that showed the financial data, alleged financial data, right, of many, many different streamers. And a lot of people asked me to cover it. Hundreds of people asked me to cover it, actually. I got DMs like crazy saying, you should make a video about this leak, you should cover this leak, talk about what's true or not, sort of thing. And you know what? I thought a lot about it, and I decided I wasn't going to do it. So I posted in my Discord here that I was aware of the Twitch leak, but I was not going to cover it. And I'm going to stay firm in that decision. I'm not going to actually show any of the data from the leak. I'm not going to discuss whether it's true or not. I don't think it's right to do. And I got flamed for this, actually. I got a lot of hate for this because people were saying that, like, maybe I'm not talking about the leak because it reveals my secret plan and I was out to destroy everyone all along and I'm in with it. I'm one of them! I don't know, okay? So, bunch of anger towards me, but yeah, real quick, I'm not going to do it. I don't feel good about it. It's illegally obtained information. There are tons of people at Twitch right now that are working very long hours that didn't do anything to deserve this, okay? Because leaks happen all the time in companies. It might be the fault of one team of people, who knows, but it's not the fault of the vast majority of people that are going to have to clean up this mess, and I genuinely feel bad for those staff members who are going to have to put those hours in, and I just don't feel comfortable with people. This is all private information that was allegedly leaked, and I don't feel comfortable going over it or talking about it in that term, so we're not going to use it. What we will do is we will extrapolate some data based on the alleged financial stuff, and without going into any specifics, I'm going to show you some really interesting stuff, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So this question of streamer revenue came up because the streamer revenue that was allegedly leaked, that has pages and pages of streamers, the top streamers making millions of dollars over a 26-month period, started a bunch of anger, and now everybody's really pissed off, okay? The problem here is that you folks are earning more money than doctors and firefighters, essential jobs. I love seeing how all the streamers seem uncomfortable for making so much money. I knew I would. That's indecent, okay? People are really upset. So then, what happened? I was summoned. Here comes Pestily, our man on the ground here, one of the absolute best broadcasters on Twitch.tv, says, food for thought on how tough it is to actually be successful on Twitch. 11.4 million unique channels streamed on Twitch in Q2 of 2021, but only 2,500 people made 80K in 26 months. Why isn't there a Devin Nash video on this yet? Yeah, why isn't there a Devin Nash video on this? You know what? I've been summoned. Let's do it. All right? We're going to break it down. Here it goes. Okay, so first of all, do streamers make too much money? Okay, well, let's look. And to do that, we're going to bust out the absolute ultimate weapon of the channel. That's right. It's the notepad. Let's go. Okay. The notepad is out. We are ready. All right. So, we are going to be using financial data that was reported, and I'm going to be using that to extrapolate the number of streamers making a certain amount of income. I'm not going to confirm or deny if this income is correct, and it doesn't matter for this example, because all we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on some percentages. So that should be cool, right? Okay, let's do that. So the way to look at this is to get the total number of streamers that have streamed in a single month, okay? And that number is over here in the research. So we're going to start there. And we're going to get this number here, which is 11.4 million in Q2 of 2021. Okay, and 11.4 million means that's 11.4 million unique streamers who have streamed in this time period. Okay, and the number is about the same for the number of people that go live. So we're going to just use that number. That is 11.4 million streamers who have 11.4 million streamers who have gone live, okay, hit the start stream button. Okay, so let's establish some stuff first. So the U.S. minimum wage is $15,080 per year, approximately in 2021. The U.S. median income per household is $67,000, I think. Let me go get that. In 2021, $67,521 from census.gov. Okay? So we're just going to establish a couple of numbers here. And the Gini coefficient for U.S. households, because we'll need that later, and I'll explain all that, is 0.48. Don't worry about that right now. Okay? Okay, cool. We got some numbers. That's neat, right? What does it mean? Well, there are 3,543 streamers who make median income, or $67,521. Okay? And there are approximately 7,242 streamers, who make minimum wage, as defined by 15,008. Okay? But these numbers need to be cut in half because the data reported is over a 26-month time period or 2 years. So we're going to cut these in half, okay? So if we do this math and we know that 11,400,000 people went live, okay, well, then it's a very simple matter to figure out that, and this is the real answer, okay? The number of streamers who make median income, okay, on the platform, all you do is you just take 11.4 million, you go into 3,543, and you get 0.03107,894%. The number of streamers who make minimum wage, okay, is not too much better, 0.526%, or 0.05%, or 1/20th of a person of every 100 people, okay? So let's first establish Alinity's tweet when she said that it's very unlikely that anybody makes any kind of money from broadcasting. Let me put that into perspective right now, okay? Because this is insane. Because this means out of 10,000 people that click the start streaming button, 5 of them will make minimum wage. Let me repeat that. Out of 10,000 people that click the start streaming button, 5 of them will make minimum wage, and 3 of them will make median income. Okay? So, right off the bat, you've got to know that the absolute it is absolutely astronomically unlikely. Okay, if I run a sandwich shop and I hire you to make a sandwich, all right, the chance of you making that sandwich and getting paid for it is 100% for the hours you work, right? But with streaming, it's one of the only jobs where you can put in the work for it and you can get $0 per hour. There's absolutely no guarantee of this income for every other job. I mean, mostly in the world. I guess there are some instances where you don't get paid for something or something happens, but that's generally not the case, right? There's a near 100% chance that you'll get your paycheck, okay? So not only is there no chance, no guarantee, right, that you'll get your paycheck from Twitch, but there's also almost an astronomically unlikely amount that even if you do get paid anything, it's going to be anything of significance, because 3 out of every 10,000 people make minimum wage. So let's establish that first, okay? That this whole thing about streamers making too much money, blah, 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 we are talking about a vastly tiny percentage of the people total that ever broadcast, and you have a absolutely tiny percentage of making any kind of meaningful money off of Twitch. Way more people should be talking about this, because this is a phenomenally low number to go off of, okay? But let's talk about those 10,000 people. Those 10,000 people that are making good amount of money on Twitch. And that brings us to the Gini coefficient, which is a distribution of wealth inequality. I don't want to explain the whole thing, but I'm going to show you an image that I pulled off of Reddit, which from analyzing financial data, alleged financial data from Twitch. And again, doesn't matter if the financial data from Twitch is accurate or not. I'm not here to tell you if it's accurate or not. It doesn't really matter, because what we're doing here is we're getting a percentage distribution of what's going on. So I'll explain this like real quick. We talked about the coefficient here. This is like a bunch of boring stat stuff, but basically, you've got an x-axis and a y-axis, right? You'll see that the x-axis and the y-axis converge here at 0.50. So this is this x-axis here is the number of people and then their respective income. Basically, the way to understand this without going into it, but there's gonna be so many stats nerds that are mad at me, like this is not poorly explained. It's not how it works in the comment section. But okay, basically, the way to understand this is that the further this blue line is out from this black line, the worse that income inequality among Twitch streamers in the top 10,000 earners is. Okay, and that goes down. That's represented in a Gini coefficient. So most people would agree that U.S. households are pretty poorly distributed in terms of wealth. That is to say that the poor are getting poorer, the rich are getting richer, and this is something that has happened for many, many years in America and other first world countries, and that people think that because that's correct. But that's represented as a number, and that number is 0.48. So by comparison, the Twitch coefficient is 0.57. So that's quite an increase, right? That's quite a hop. And the way to understand that is basically that is a 18.7% increase from the so the way to understand it is that among top Twitch streamers, 10,000 Twitch streamers, there's about an 18.7% worse income distribution among top Twitch streamers than there is off of U.S. households, which is pretty terrible. so that means even among the richest people on Twitch, very, very few of them make like crazy amounts of income. So let's talk about the people that are making crazy amounts of income. Do they make too much? And you got all these comments of people saying like, okay, well, all these people are doing is sitting and playing video games. Why the hell am I working a really tough job, like hard physical labor, getting paid minimum wage, whatever? And like this is a classic argument that you see happen with a lot of C-level people, right? Like CEOs and everything that are sometimes legitimately vastly overpaid for their positions and the perception of it. And I want to break down this kind of reason why broadcasters are so rare. And I'm going to do it because I set up this entire stats project here to give you an idea of why it's so rare. That broadcasters are, or why broadcasters are paid so highly. Okay, so the central idea of why broadcasters are paid so highly comes down to three premises. Okay, the first one is that it is an extremely rare skill set. People pay for exclusivity and scarcity. And we can see that the number of broadcasters that make it on twitch.tv, so the number of people that make median income, right, being 0.03%, or again, 5 people that click the start streaming button out of 10,000 will ever make any kind of significant income, okay? And that's not even like a living wage compared to like tech workers or the average salary or things like that. Because like we could go back there and we could look at this. We could say, okay, remember that angry tweet that person made about how they're taking jobs from essential workers, right? And like firefighters. Well, firefighters make $50,000 annually, right? And doctors, taking away from that, that's $208,000 annually. And by the way, there's 708,300 doctors in the U.S., right? Out of 329 million people, which is about 0.2%. But guess what? So that's about along the lines, pretty close to the number of streamers that make median income. But you make $208,000 as a doctor, okay? So they're not taking the doctor's gerbs, okay? It's about the same amount. And by the way, if you become a doctor getting paid this, your paycheck is 100% of the time going to arrive at that amount. You don't need subscribers to pay you, right? If you stop, like, I guess if you stop being a doctor, you stop getting paid. But generally speaking, that average salary is locked in. So you're comparing, maybe what, 15 to 20 people or so. I mean, it's a little bit more than that, 150 to 500 people to 708,300 doctors, right? Doesn't seem very fair, but okay, back to this. 3 premises. It's extremely rare skill set. People pay for exclusivity and scarcity. Scarcity. It's been there on the entire stream. That's been on there the entire time. Nobody told me. Okay. Entire video. Nobody can tell me. I'm recording this. What does that mean? Well, this is the same thing that goes for CEOs. When CEOs, boards of directors were polled, and they said, you know what? Why do CEOs make so much money? Well, board of directors on boards unilaterally said it's because they have a skill set. Running a top company is extremely difficult to do. And running a broadcast at a high level is extremely difficult to do. The problem is that I'm seeing the exact same mental problem that affects people who think most CEOs get paid too much. Don't get me wrong. There are absolutely CEOs that get paid too much. and I don't think that 300 times the salary of a worker in your company is anywhere remotely fair. I also am a big supporter of CEO pay caps and ceilings that I think should be based on a percentage of the lowest paid person in the company, because that way the CEO always has to work harder for the money they earn. I like that a lot. So, and those are things that we implement in my company and things like that. So, I do think that getting paid as a CEO or a broadcaster is a exponentially rare skill set, and there are very few people that can do it. So that justifies a higher value. It's just flat out that's why. The problem is that people apply the same thing to CEOs that they do to entertainers, and they say, oh, well, anybody can start a Twitch stream, and anybody could be a gamer and sit in front of their computer and yell like XQC. Well, if it's so easy to do, why don't you do it? Where's your OBS? Why don't you click that button and why don't you go make those millions of dollars? I mean, you should just quit your job and go do that, right? I mean, you got a pretty good shot at it, right? It's I mean, out of 10,000 people, you could easily be one of those 5. Yeah. Or maybe it's because it's really difficult to be a streamer. You have to be super entertaining, business mindseted, work a ton of hours. Go watch my mental health video on streaming and show it where I showed that the average amount that a broadcaster works per month live, that's not even offline where you have to do a ton of stuff, is 200 hours, okay? And many broadcasters like Asmongold or Amaranth are putting in more time than that. You start to realize that maybe this job isn't as simple as you think it is, okay? And in the same exact way that many people tell me that as a CEO, my job is very easy. All I do is I sit in a chair and I tell people what to do. It's not that easy, okay? There's just so many things you have to do. I can't even begin. It's a whole separate talk to do that. So it is an extremely rare and hard skill set. It's really difficult to do. It really is. It's really difficult to do. And very few people can do it. And that is the reason why so few people make it. It's not Twitch's fault that very few people make it broadcasting any more than it's Hollywood's fault that very few people make it as actors or actresses. It's difficult to do. Being an actor or an actress is extremely difficult to do. It requires very long hours. It requires a very unique skill set. It requires memorization. It requires oftentimes incredible fitness and eating routines. It requires like tons and tons of practice and dedication and hours of practice. Like it's a very, very hard thing to do. And there are what the problem is that people use exceptions to these rules, like the occasional CEO that like shouldn't be where they are. That's a few years away from some scandal or something, and that they're going to blow up. Or they use streamers that they feel are not putting in the effort, like XQC. Like, well, how hard is it to be XQC? How hard is it to be Hasan? All Hasan does is he turns on his stream and he reacts to videos. Maybe he's reacting to this video right now. Who knows? Okay, there's a good chance. He doesn't usually pull up Devin Nash videos, but sometimes he does. But yeah, maybe he's reacting to this video because I put him on the thumbnail. Okay, I don't know. It must be really easy to be Hasan, right? He just sits in his house, makes tons of money, right? No, Hasan works a ton of hours. Hasan puts in an incredible amount of time streaming, okay? And he has a certain, let's look, right? So if I just pull up, I didn't even do this before. I'm just going to pull it up and I'll have a point. It's 208 hours broadcasted per month, right? And that's down 10% from what he normally does. He puts a ton of time in, and that's just time online. He's also doing collaborations, but more importantly, he has a very unique skill set. He's business-minded, he's extremely funny, and he is able to appeal to people in a way that most people cannot do. So that's why Hasan earns that kind of income, is because he's literally one of a kind. And that brings us to number 2, which is that these influencers universally greatly influence society and hundreds of thousands of people. So if you're at the level where you are making the kind of money that these top broadcasters are, we're really talking about 100 people here or less that are making this kind of money, you are influencing society in an insanely heavy way. I can tell you exactly how incredibly they're influencing society because I run an agency. My agency Novo gets these stats every day. We work with influencers directly on ad campaigns and attention campaigns, and people pay tens of thousands of dollars. Some of these top influencers, we're just talking right now about their ad revenue, their sub revenue, right? You're saying, well, you're not counting any kind of donations, which would, by the way, represent less than 5% of streamers' total income in 2021. On average. So don't say that like donations really matter. They don't really anymore because they've been replaced largely by subs and other systems that Twitch has put internally into their system. It's 5 to 10% average. So these people are interested in what is going on with my typing today. Okay. Hundreds of thousands of people. And they have the power to move audiences, which can be to buy products. Oh my God. To vote, to interact and engage with something because of what that influencer says. That's an incredible power to have, and very few people have that. By comparison, public speakers make an average of $90,193 per year. That's a very recent number by September, right? Why? Well, that's way higher than the median income of the US household, and that's because they have a skill set that is unique. Speaking to the public moves the public to do things, and that's worth a lot of money. We live in what's called an attention economy, right? We used to have a product-based economy where we produce a ton of stuff through factories, moved to a service-based economy where we're still kind of in, and we're moving kind of gradually to an attention-based economy, which is the amount of attention that something gets is definable in value based on ad impressions, based on the amount of people that will like buy it. So right now, Hassan can go on and he can say, hey, I love this product. Some people should buy it. And a lot of people will buy it. Thousands of people will buy it, actually, right? They'll click through to a link and they'll buy it. And that's worth a lot to advertisers. And that's why he gets paid the big bucks. That's why you see someone like Kylie Jenner have $1 million. If you want to post an Instagram post for Kylie Jenner's account, it's $1 million starting, right? That's just like before you get through anything. For appearance fees, some of these top streamers charge $50,000 an hour. $50,000 for appearance fees, or just to get their time. Actually, some of the streamers, I don't want to obviously call out some names, but we've priced individual streamers at $50,000 to $75,000 an hour for their time, just to show up. Now, why would that be? That's because when you get an influencer of this level, you're not just getting their audience. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. You're getting clips, YouTube videos, people talking about it, the cultural change, everything in that sphere of influence, all of it, right? So a lot of people think that, okay, Hassan is only as great as his audience, but Hassan is on Reddit every day. He's on YouTube every day. People are making videos about him. These are tens of thousands of extra impressions that come as a result of him just being around something that greatly influence people, and particularly people to buy products, right? And the third one, and that kind of goes into like what I was saying before, is their influence works. It just does, right? Time and time again. If I right now set up a brand with a campaign for a certain level of influencer, 1,000 concurrent viewers, I can promise that brand reasonably that they'll get X number in sales, they'll get Y number of impressions, they'll get this number of hours watched, and they'll get this many people thinking about it. And that is valuable not only to Fortune 500 companies, which care a lot about exposure, where they want a lot of people talking about their stuff. People like Coke and Pepsi always want to be top of mind, so they're like household brands. So there's a lot of advertising dollars that go in from there. But also smaller companies like games that are coming out that are maybe not AAA releases, but they just want people to buy their game. Well, they know that if they contract an influencer for 2 to 4 hours to play their game, #ad, that person will bring in an equivalent amount of sales or a greater amount of sales plus exposure based on what they pay. And so it's just an easy math problem for companies. You say, okay, I pay an influencer $10,000, but I get $20,000 to $30,000 in sales. That's an easy choice for me. But it's also an easy choice for companies to say, okay, I pay $10,000 and I get $10,000 in game sales, because that's there's not just a one-to-one value there. There's also all kinds of things to consider along the lines of extra exposure that you get as a result of that. People that might buy the game later, people that add it to like a wish list and might buy it later. There's so much value that comes from it. So we're like, when we're talking about top streamers, we really talk about 100-ish people, 500 max. And then from there, you're basically down to like a job that requires way more time on average than a normal job does, that's always on, that has heavy mental health implications, and is constantly putting you in front of the public in a way that is difficult to parse with. Again, watch my video on mental health and streaming to cover this. So the ultimate answer here is it really that streamers make too much money? Okay? Well, before we do that, I just want to thank everybody. Okay? We are now 27 minutes into this, so this is the secret call out. Two things. If you're here all this way, thank you very much. Please join the Discord, discord.gg/Devin. That's the place where it's kind of like number one place to talk about stuff like this. Any kind of like media or industry stuff that happens in the gaming industry, we're always covering that. It's a very good place, discord.gg/Devin. And secondly, man, the Patreon has been phenomenal, and I do have one. It's patreon.com/Devin Nash. I really appreciate people that sign up there. I'm trying to give back to you. I have over 30 hours of just exclusive stuff there for people that are really interested in taking their business to the next level or whatever. $5 gets you in, and you get all those videos. It's good. Like, check it out. It's really good. Yeah, so if you're here, leave a comment. You've watched the entire video. That's crazy. You're part of the secret club. Thank you for getting all the way here. Especially since I think my mind has been a little bit addled today, kind of been everywhere. But yeah, here it goes. Finally, do streamers make too much money? No. They don't really. I mean, they don't really. So few of them ever get there, and the ones that do possess such an insanely unique skill set that those 5 out of every 10,000 people, like I think of someone like Ludwig, right? Ludwig like blows my mind. Ludwig's an influencer who is just like popped off. He's one of like the top 10 best earners or something. I don't know like what number he supposedly was or whatever. And he just made a video that was how much money do I really make? And he kind of breaks down everything that he really makes and shows and talks about it like it makes an Excel spreadsheet. Ludwig is a insane influencer. Like his skill set is unbelievable. He's a master of improv. He's super comedic value. He adds a ton of business knowledge. He's a better marketer than me, and it's my full-time job, right? Like he understands the YouTube algorithm. He plays it perfectly. It's like the amount of skills that need to come. And first of all, and he's willing to work this hard. Like, right, that's another big thing. Like, I genuinely think that I could be a bigger influencer. I just don't want to put in the hours. I got other stuff to do. I think New World's a really good game, man. Like, you know, like it's things like that. So it's like having the will and the know-how to do these things is so rare that it really is 1 out of every 10,000 people. 1 out of every. Well, I mean, Ludwig's more like 1 out of every millions and millions of people, right? But because 5 out of 10,000 people will possess even enough of a skill set to do this at a regular job level, right? But he's in a category that is like 1 out of tens of millions of people because he has honed those skills. So, and I can like show you with every single influencer in that list, without exception, they have some combination of really rare skills, whether it be incredible comedic value, incredible business sense, or just insane hard work ethic, or like all three, like Amaranth, right? Who is somehow able to update 7 social media channels, 2 paid funnels, 8 free funnels, 4 YouTube channels, and stream over 300 hours a month. Like I don't know where that time comes from. That's like Hermione time watch types of stuff, right? But also is an incredible businesswoman and understands like to a degree that is like beyond most people. You really need a very unique skill set to earn this kind of income. And I want this to solve this kind of problem once and for all. I know it won't, because most people watching this video are not going to be the people that are posting on Twitter about this. But I really want people to understand, first of all, how damn difficult it is to be a broadcaster at all. But second of all, that once you get there, you really are putting exponential value compared to other people. And I realize that might be difficult to parse, right? That might be like something that is kind of hard to accept, but that's the case, right? It's just that some people, we value people that can bring attention to things in our society, and people that have more influence in our society. They don't necessarily have to be famous to do that, because there are people that are behind. There are CEOs you've never heard of who are incredibly influential and move entire markets and billions and trillions of dollars in markets and derivatives or things like that in the finance industry. You probably never heard of these people, like Ray Dalio, for example, who's a massive hedge fund owner. These people are people that make hundreds of millions of dollars because they control the fate of billions and trillions of dollars. So their exponential value and influence, maybe they're not famous, but they control these things, so they make that kind of money. They make those decisions. Many people that are famous get that exponential value from the attention that they can create on things. Well, either that be product sales, which is just the objective value, right? Or just influence, right? Like move people to vote, move people to change policies, move people to change decisions, right? These are things that have real value in the world. And if you are a person who may feel down and out because you do not possess that kind of influence or that kind of command over something, don't worry. By honing your skill set, you can become exclusive and scarce, and that is something that I talk about a lot on this channel, which is the fact that anybody can really work on themselves and do this. Just most people care not to. But that doesn't change the fact that we value those things, and it doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it wrong because certain people choose not to or can't because of their circumstances. Because a lot of wealth inequality is not because of just people, unable to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And I actually hate that meme. But for example, a lot of wealth inequality is just because of your location, right? Like you're just born into a place where you can't, even in the United States, or especially in the United States, you're just born into a place where the education system, the community, the support networks are just not sufficient enough to basically ever rise you to a point where you could earn income like this. That is just a unfortunate reality. And it blows. Like I'm not trying to suggest to anybody that that wealth inequality is justified because people can pull themselves up by their bootstraps. I genuinely think they can't, and that's why for me, and when I do philanthropic things off this channel or with the company or whatever, I focus on education. As I think that's kind of the final issue. Is education is what we need to do to bring people closer to education. Basically, the more educated you get, the more exclusive and scarce you are, because less people have that education, and thus forth, the more you earn, right, along these lines. So I'm not trying to make that argument just in case anybody thinks I am. I do acknowledge the huge problem with wealth inequality, and I think education is one of the ways to solve it. But to some extent, sometimes people are just born into situations or in situations that they just cannot reasonably get out of, and that sucks, right? But it doesn't make this idea of an attention economy wrong in of itself. It's not. It's okay that broadcasters make this kind of money. They have a very rare skill set and they work very hard, as we've shown time and time again. And I think we should try more to understand. Like, this goes back to the mental health thing in streaming, where it's like so many people, they don't think of this as a legitimate job. And that bothers me a lot, because just when you look at the hours that are put in, the amount of work that it requires, everything, it's really unfortunate, because it is a legitimate job and it really does take a lot to become a broadcaster. And I think that conversation needs to be more out there. So do streamers make about as much money as they should? And one thing I'd like to see is more broadcasters. I'd like to see this number go way, way up, where, out of 10,000 people, maybe 10 make minimum wage. At least that's double. Okay. Or maybe 100. That'd be great, right? Where we get that, we get up to that, 1% number or something. And to Twitch's credit, one of Twitch's internal KPIs has been for many years to get the number of broadcasters making full-time income up. And Twitch is actually very good at monetizing broadcasts in a lower viewer range. So once you get up to 200 to 500 viewers, which is still a lot, you monetize very well. Often, I would say probably the best out of any platform, even YouTube, because smaller subscriber numbers on YouTube don't usually translate to better revenue than on Twitch, unless you're extremely good at monetizing your YouTube channel. Like, you have a Patreon, you sell product or merch on the side or something like that. So Twitch is actually very good at monetizing smaller broadcasters, but less good at bringing those broadcasters up to that level, and that's where they need to improve, right? That goes back to better discoverability and stuff like that. But my hope is that this video really helped you out, and in totally understanding this kind of entire topic. Hopefully we never need to talk about this again until 3 months from now, when this topic comes up again and I got to make another video with another title like this that says the exact same thing. But until then, I'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.